In this video, we're going to name every NBA team's best rim protector all time. This is not every NBA team's best defender, nor every NBA team's best all-around shot blocker. This is specifically protecting the rim through interior defense and blocking shots in the paint and key. This is important to distinguish because it's a completely specific skill. For example, Dwayne Wade is one of the best shot blockers in Heat history, but he's mainly blocking perimeter shots. And while these guys could protect the rim, only you could protect yourself from boring web browsers. Let me introduce to you a free, easy to download web browser known as Opera GX. This browser is perfect for ballers, gamers, and anyone who wants a unique browsing experience. The Opera GX browser offers a lot of customization, with various GX mods, one of my favorites being the basketball mod. This mod makes you feel like you're right in the middle of a game. Every time you open up a new tab, click a button, hover over something clickable, you're introduced with unique basketball sounds from dribbling to sneaker squeaking and fans cheering. And of course, these sounds can be toggled and adjusted if you don't want to hear them. These GX mods come with fun background music that you can listen to while you browse, or you could easily turn them off. You can even turn on an ad blocking feature to get rid of annoying ads. One of my favorite features is the ability to separate videos and have them hover around your computer screen so you can multitask while you work and watch a video at the same time. Beyond basketball, there are tons of other mods in the GX store. Opera GX is also equipped with an important tool that allows you to quickly and efficiently import all of your settings from your previous browser into GX, such as browsing history, bookmarks, and cookies. Opera GX is also compatible with every Google Chrome extension, so you're not missing out on anything. It's very easy to install, it's free to use, and it's available for both Mac and PC. So what are you waiting for? Give it a try and download Opera GX for free by clicking that link down below. Thanks to Opera GX for sponsoring this video. 76ers, no question, this one goes to Wilt Chamberlain. Blocks were not an officially counted stat during Wilt's playing days, so it's tough to know just how many rejections he blocked each night. With the limited data that is available, according to calculations based on 100 plus recounts, with the game data that is salvageable, Wilt has been counted to average 8.8 blocks per game. Now this is not his entire career, and I don't think Wilt's true average is 8.8 per game, but I wouldn't be surprised if the number is close, or even above 5 for that matter. I do get that during his era, not only was the style of play different, but also there was no defensive 3 seconds in the key. Thus, he could lurk right under the rim all day, but that wasn't even his playing style. Even if we cut his blocks right in half to 4 per game, he would then have a total of 5,220 blocks and would be first all time on the total blocks list. Hakeem is currently first all time with 3,830 blocks. That's a difference of 1,390 blocks. Rest in peace to Wilt Chamberlain. For the Bucks, while Giannis is a great choice here, I won't deny that, my pick though is going to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem is a one-time block champ while playing for the Bucks, but they only started counting blocks during his final 2 seasons in Milwaukee. I bet he would have won more if they started counting them earlier. He averaged 3.4 blocks per game in a Bucks jersey. Bulls, for once we have someone on an all-time Bulls list not named Michael Jordan, as we got Artis Gilmore. Artis spent his first 5 seasons in the ABA, but that didn't stop him from racking up blocks in the NBA. He has the highest blocks per game average in Bulls history at 2.1 per game, and the most blocks all time in Bulls history with 1,029 blocks. For reference, Michael Jordan, a shooting guard, is second all-time with the Bulls blocks with 828 blocks. Yes, that does mean Jordan has more Bulls blocks than say Pau Gasol, Scottie Pippen, Joakim Noah, and even the Bulls centers during the 90s like Luke Longley and Bill Cartwright. For the Cavs, it's easy to lock your eyes and say LeBron James because what hasn't LeBron done in Cleveland? But I really don't think that would tell you the whole story of interior rim protection. Yes, LeBron has a lot of cool chase down block highlight reels, but that is more of sheer athleticism as a forward, not so much as a center designated to defending the interior. And with that considered, my pick here is Big Z Zydrunas Ilgauskas, who actually leads the Cavs all time in blocks with 1,269 nice blocks. In regards to the Celtics, no hesitation, this one goes to one of, if not the best defensive center in NBA history, Bill Russell. Like Wilt, blocks weren't counted in this era, and also like Wilt, there was no defensive 3 seconds in the key. Even more like Wilt, with the limited recountable data that does exist, Bill Russell managed to average 8.1 blocks per game within said data. If Bill Russell just got half of this amount and say he averaged 4 blocks per game throughout his career, he too would have more total blocks than Hakeem Olajuwon, with a total of 3,852 blocks compared to Hakeem's 3,830 blocks, a difference of 22 blocks, small but still more. Rest in peace to Bill Russell. The Clippers is close between Marcus Camby and DeAndre Jordan. It actually wouldn't be close if the Clippers got, say, prime Marcus Camby, but they got an older 36-year-old Marcus for just 1.5 seasons compared to DeAndre Jordan in his prime for 10 seasons. DeAndre Jordan in his best blocking season put up 2.5 blocks per game and averaged 1.7 blocks per game with the Clippers. So for Clippers specific rim protection, DeAndre Jordan gets my pick. Next up is the Grizzlies, and I'm going with the back-to-back block champion, Jaren Jackson Jr. And I understand for some this pick might be too early, but considering he just came off of a back-to-back blocking champion and might even three-peat coming into next season, I think he's done enough blocking to claim this title. In his last season, he averaged 3 blocks per game, which is very impressive in this fast-paced, easy-to-foul, three-point shooting era of NBA basketball. For the Hawks, not in his house, the best rim protector in Hawks history is Dikembe Mutombo, who averaged 3.2 blocks per game in a Hawks jersey. Now, a good runner-up for the spot would be Tree Rollins. He did get a block champ in a Hawks jersey, and Mutombo got his wearing other teams' jerseys, but in their totality, Tree averaged 2.8 blocks per game with the Hawks, and Mutombo averaged 3.2, so for that, he gets the edge here. For the Heat, my pick here is Alonzo Mourning. He is a two-time block champ with a back-to-back blocking champ in a Heat jersey, averaging 3.9 and 3.7 blocks per game in each season respectively. He spent 11 seasons in Miami, including 4 at the bitter end of his career, which hurts his overall game average. If we specifically count his prime, he would be closer to averaging 2.9 blocks per game. For the Hornets, the sun might still be up because it's morning time yet again. Mourning during the morning of his career, pun intended, ran out of the gates fast with rim protecting, as he averaged 3.5 blocks per game in his rookie season and 3.1 blocks per game in his total time with the Hornets. For the Jazz, this is a close call between Rudy Gobert and Mark Eaton. While you can probably make a solid argument for Rudy if you want to compare their total game and say that he's a better player, but if we're specifically debating rim protection, I think you got to give this one to Mark Eaton. Mark is a 4-time block champion compared to Rudy's 1 so far. Mark, in just his 3rd season, he played all 82 games and averaged 5.6 blocks per game. That is unheard of. In his career, he averaged 3.5 blocks per game, but he has 4 seasons in which he put up more than 4 blocks per game and 7 seasons in which he averaged more than 3 blocks per game. Rest in peace to Mark Eaton. The Kings' best rim protector is Sam Lacey, who leads the franchise in total blocks with 1,098 and leads the franchise in blocks per game with 1.7 per game. Now, it's entirely possible that Sam could have even more blocks because they didn't start counting it till the 1973-74 season. Rest in peace to Sam Lacey. For the Knicks, my pick here is Patrick Ewing. Crazy to think that a guy to average over 3 blocks per game in over 5 different seasons and once averaged 4 blocks per game, yet never won a block championship. I guess that's what happens when you play in the same era as prime Hakeem Olajuwon, who got 4.6 blocks per game in the season in which Ewing got 4. But hey, I'm not complaining about Ewing's 4 per game. That's still mighty impressive. For his career, he averaged 2.7 per game in New York. The Lakers is a pretty tough one. You got Wilt, but he's older here. The real close call is between Shaquille O'Neal and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Shaq averaged 2.5 blocks per game in a Lakers jersey, and Kareem averaged 2.5 blocks per game in a Lakers jersey. So on the surface, it looks like a tie, but that doesn't tell the whole story. This stat includes Kareem's late 30s and even his 40s. If we just count his late 20s and early to mid 30s, or count his first 8 seasons with the Lakers and compare it to Shaq's total 8 seasons with the Lakers, then Kareem's average is 3.2 blocks per game compared to Shaq's 2.5. Kareem won 3 block champs in LA, and his best Laker blocking season is 4.1 blocks per game. Thus, he gets the pick here. Speaking of Shaq, though, he does get the pick for the best Orlando Magic rim protector. Now, Dwight is a great second place runner-up. He does have 2 block champs in Orlando, but in those 2 seasons, he got 2.9 and 2.8 blocks per game. In Shaq's first 2 seasons alone, he put up better blocking numbers, getting 3.5 blocks per game in his rookie season and 2.9 blocks per game in year 2. You can thank his no block champ award to the fact that during these years, it was Hakeem and Dikembe hogging up the blocking titles, so obviously a rookie Shaq is not going to win. Mavericks, standing at 7'6", the best rim protector for the Mavericks is the Storm and Mormon Sean Bradley, who has multiple seasons in which he averaged over 3 blocks per game and averaged 2.1 blocks per game during his entire time in Dallas, and that includes the bitter end of his career. He does have a block champ with the Nets. Speaking of which, the Nets' best rim protector is also Sean Bradley, who has a 4 block per game season and a 3.7 block per game season playing Nets basketball, but his blocking champ season came from when he only got 3.4 blocks per game. Nuggets is kind of a tough one, mainly because we're comparing a prime Marcus Camby to a prime Dikembe Mutombo. If these two weren't facing off, I would have easily chosen one over nearly anyone else not named Hakeem Olajuwon, but that's not the case here. Now, considering Dikembe leads the Nuggets in both total blocks and blocks per game with 3.8 per game, I will give him the edge, but Marcus is second place in both categories, so hats off to him. For the Pacers, we have O'Neal. It's not Shaquille, but it's Jermaine, who leads the Pacers in both blocks per game and total blocks with 1,245. Now, I will say that Miles Turner is really close to eclipsing Jermaine, as he is a 2-time block champ and second all-time in both total Pacers blocks and a Pacer block average, which may be surpassed by the end of this upcoming season, but until that happens, I think it's fair to recognize Jermaine for what he has done for this organization. Pelicans. For the Pelicans, we have the man with a pelican above his eyes. It's Anthony Davis, who leads this franchise in both total blocks with 1,021 blocks and has the highest block per game average with 2.4. Anthony himself is a 3-time block champ who got all 3 with the Pelicans. Next up, it's the Pistons, and we have one of the shortest guys on this list. It's Big Ben Wallace, who leads the Pistons in both total blocks with 1,486 blocks and the highest block per game average with 2.3. I will say this average is probably skewed a bit since he returned to Detroit for his final 3 seasons from ages 35 to 37, but if we just count his first tenure with the Pistons, his average would be much closer to 3 blocks per game at 2.8. For the Raptors, we have Marcus Camby, and I know his time with the Raps were short, but even with his limited time, he got to work fast. In just his second season in the NBA and second season with the Raptors, he won a block champ by blocking an average of 3.7 blocks per game. That's crazy impressive for year 2 in the NBA. Marcus has the highest blocking average in Raptors history, but total blocks belongs to Chris Bosh. Honestly, that is more of a longevity stat with the Raptors, plus Bosh only got 600 blocks for the Raptors. I don't feel confident saying Bosh is a better rim protector than Marcus Camby. Thus, I will give this spot to Marcus. The Rockets, man, this franchise has to be the one with the most competition. Think about it. You got Yao Ming, Ralph Sampson, Moses Malone, Dikembe Mutombo, Eddie Griffin, and Dwight Howard, just to name a few. But my pick here has to be the man who leads the entire NBA in total block shots, and that is Hakeem Olajuwon. With 3,740 Rockets-specific blocks, he did play his final season with the Raptors, but hey, let's not think about that. Hakeem also leads the Rockets in blocks per game at 3.2. He is a 3-time block champ, with his best blocking season getting 4.6 blocks per game. The Spurs is a very tough call between Tim Duncan and David Robinson. Yes, Tim leads the Spurs all-time in total blocks, but only by 66 blocks, as Tim has 3,020 blocks compared to David's 2,954 blocks. David averaged 3 blocks per game compared to Tim's 2.2 per game, and won a block champ, getting 4.5 blocks per game in his best blocking season. So for that, he gets my pick here, being the better rim protector. Not the better player, nor the better total defender, but the better rim protector specifically. For the Suns, it's Kevin Durant with over 50,000 blocks. Oh wait, this is not Twitter blocks, we're talking NBA blocks. Anyway, Larry Nance Sr. leads the Suns all-time in total blocks and even blocks per game, but I don't think that tells you the whole story. Larry certainly is an athletic forward, a great dunker who gets these blocks from stopping other forwards and even guards in the mid-range, perimeter, you have it. But as far as protecting the key and really being a specialized interior defender, a player that better fits this description would be Mark West, who you may remember during those 90s Suns teams. With the Thunder, my pick here is easily Ibaka Serge Ibaka, who leads this franchise in total blocks with 1,300 on the nose and in blocks per game with 2.5 per game. Serge is a 2-time block champ and has an average of 3.7 blocks per game in his best blocking season. The Timberwolves' best rim protector all time is the big ticket Kevin Garnett, but if Rudy can somehow do better than his underwhelming previous season with the Wolves, then maybe he can take this spot one day. Until then, I have to give this one to the guy who leads this franchise in total blocks and and by a long shot. KG is first with 1,590 blocks, and Karl Anthony Towns is second with just 680 blocks. Trailblazers is tough. You can glance over a stat sheet and give this one to Michael Thompson, who leads the franchise in blocks with 768, but he only averaged 1.4 blocks per game while in Portland. This is more of a longevity stat. There is also Marcus Camby, who did play with the Blazers towards the end of his career, but not his prime, as he only averaged 1.6 blocks per game in a Blazers jersey. And then there's a Blazers MVP who got injured during his prime, but was really great before his injury, and that is Bill Walton, who won a block champ with the Blazers, getting 3.2 blocks per game, and I think if he never injured his foot, his name would show up a whole lot more on those all-time Blazers franchise stat lists. For the Warriors, this easily goes to Wilt Chamberlain for many of the reasons why he got the 76ers spot, but I also want to give a shout out to Manute Bol for being a great Warriors rim protector, and speaking of which, the best Wizards rim protector is Manute Bol, who has more blocks than points, is a two-time block champ, averaged 3.8 blocks per game in a Bullets/Wizards jersey, had an insane 5 block per game season during his rookie season, and leads this franchise in blocks per game. Rest in peace to Manute Bol. So here is every NBA team's best all-time rim protector. Let me know what you thought about this list and what you want to see in the future. Don't forget to dunk on that like button and subscribe with notifications turned on. I'm Rebound Rewind, and I'll fast forward to you later.